What's up, everybody? I'm Bad Dad, and this is Almost Punk Enough podcast brought to you by that'sgoodenoughforme.com. For the last 4 years, That's Good Enough for Me's Happy Camper series has covered Camp Punksylvania through written interviews, reviews, and coverage with as many performers as we can get on board. This year, we're bringing a little of that series onto the podcast, and today's guest feels like a pretty perfect reason to do so. Joining me today is Scott Radinsky, frontman of Pulley, former Major League Baseball pitcher, and one of the very few people alive who have crossed that rare bridge between two worlds that don't usually overlap, Major League Baseball and punk rock. With Pulley hitting the main stage at Camp Punksylvania this year, Scott and I dig into punk, baseball, touring, creativity, authenticity, festivals, and what it means to keep doing what you love decades into the game. You can find more from our Happy Camper series of interviews, including chats with co-founder Laura Rose, a Wilhelm Scream, Keep Flying, Black Guy Fox, The Chemical Imbalance, and more, along with punk news, reviews, and features at that'sgoodenoughforme.com. For now, let's get into it.
Yeah, you're punk enough. Oh yeah, that's good enough for me.
All right, perfect. This is Bad Dad with That's Good Enough for Me, and I'm here today with somebody who's built a career unlike anybody else that we've had on the show so far. You know him as the voice of Pulley. It's a band that's remained in the fixture of punk rock, changing scenes, changing eras, decades of music. But outside of punk, he also carved out a pretty awesome legacy, spending a couple of years as a pitcher at the major league level. So it's a guy who's lived in dugouts and dive bars, clubhouses, and venues, balancing out two worlds that you wouldn't normally put together and have collide, but somehow he made both of them work. And now we've got Pulley gearing up for Camp Punksylvania in 2026. We're excited to dig into music, baseball, creativity, and the state of the scene with Scott Radinsky. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks a lot for having me and the nice words there.
Awesome. So we brought it up, but you've lived two pretty demanding lives. You were a punk frontman and a pitcher. So which identity tends to mean more these days?
Just the identity of being a dad. I mean, what I do is what I do, and it's been gratifying, and I've been grateful for the last 40 years of being able to do what I've been able to do. Um, Identity is just I like to neither one, to be honest. I don't want to be identified with work in any way, shape, or form. It's nice to be recognized for things you do and people enjoy along the way, whether it be on a team or making music. And that's like I said, that's just something. Fortunately, we've had some luck with, and I've had some luck with on a personal level. With the baseball side of things. But yeah, I mean, I'd prefer just to be the regular guy on the street if I could be.
Nice. You said that you're a dad. Are your kids into Pulley? Are they listening to Scared Straight? Are they going all the way back?
No, I don't think so. My son will probably deny it, but I think he secretly listens to it a little bit. But yeah, I have two daughters that never really got into it. I mean, when they were little, maybe a little bit, but not really so much. No, they never really got into the whole music thing, or at least my musical tastes.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
So you guys, the Pulley has survived a ton of just the changing trends across music and scenes that age and kind of reborn. The culture has changed, life's changed. What's kept the band going when a lot of your colleagues have kind of faded away?
I think kind of how we started out in the beginning was let's start a band to have fun. Let's write some music with our friends, and that's what we're still doing. And we've taken it seriously, but never taken it so seriously, if that makes sense. The kind of like the older school ethics, I guess. You started a band, you started a punk rock band back in the day. The last thing you ever thought was you were going to get paid or play in a real venue or anything like that. And so I think that was kind of the goal in the very beginning was to just no expectations and just have fun. And that's kind of still what we're doing. We've never really relied on the band as a source of income. Never relied on the band as a source of identity, of who we are or what we're trying to be. And we just wanted to make music to, because that's what we do. And everybody starts a band in the garage to have fun. And somewhere along the way with whether it's success or financial needs or whatever, I think bands lose that whole beginning starting point of why you became a band in the first place. And that's just something that I think we're holding on to, and that's what's kept us around.
You guys did come out of a pretty interesting era of punk, the nardcore scene, and the early '90s. So what did that scene get right that you feel like today's scene maybe struggles with?
It's hard to say when you're 16, 17, 18 years old and you're part of something that's new, and it's kind of, in our case, it kind of reached out to suburbia, kind of left the Hollywood, LA kind of area and started reaching out into suburbia, and a bunch of little skater kids. And it was new, and we were part of something that was growing. And I don't know if that's the case anymore. I think, I mean, I don't want to sound so far removed, but it seems like now I guess you could just start a band. You could record a song at your house, and then it could be up on YouTube or something within a day, a week. And, back then, things actually were kind of like grassroots and grown from little seedlings, and that's the only way to do it. And it's, I guess it's easier now, and I think that kind of makes it more like here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing, because there isn't any lasting bond there. What was the purpose of, what was the motive of, things? Just why did they start in the first place? Was it to create music, to generate music? um was to build a fan base, was to go out and be on the radio, get famous. I mean, there's just so much more accessibility now.
Yeah,
And I think that I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting lost in the question, but I just think that um I don't want to use the word pure, more pure back then, but maybe just more new. Like I said in the very beginning, instead of having to give you a long-winded answer, it was just it was new, and it was growing, and we were part of something. And I don't know if that's the case anymore. Maybe for a kid that's 16, it is. I don't know. I don't live in that world, so um, but I don't see it from my perspective.
fair enough. Yeah. Is there anything that you feel like the bands today are doing a little bit better than the bands out of your generation were able to?
They're better players. I mean, just overall, I mean, in the world, it's like, God, everything's just, kids are just better at what they do. And it's, that's just fact. I mean, they're better players.
So punk talks a lot about authenticity, and you lived outside of that scene with the corporate sports world. Did that experience change how you viewed the ideals of punk, or did it reinforce them for you?
Well, I was really thrown into a world that, it's like being in high school. It's like I was hanging out with like these kids at one end of the school with mohawks and spiked hair, and then there was the jocks over here, and some of them were my teammates, and we got along when we were on the field, but kind of really never meshed as, outside of that world. And that's kind of how it was for me in my involvement in baseball. I tried to be a good teammate and get along with people, but I never really got caught up with the industry, so to speak. um, so I never really had to change how I viewed things, or I kind of always felt that way. And you know, I, I I don't know if I'm considered a sellout, because I basically put on the tie and put on the suit and went to work every day, in my own world. But yeah, I never really felt like I fit in to begin with, and never really lived that life. So I never really felt, I don't want to say I wasn't a part of it, because I was, but I didn't live it, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what keeps you motivated to be creative after you accomplished things in such wildly different worlds? What keeps you going today with your creativity?
I just think it's human nature. I mean, if you have that artistic kind of, I like creating music. I like being a part of creating songs, and um, I like the scene. I like being involved in it. I like what it stands for. I like what it is. However you want to slice it or dice it, there. I feel like it's a world that I've always been a part of, and I think that's what kind of keeps me motivated is it's something that like hit close to home at an early age for me, and it's kind of been my lifelong friend, and I guess I'm loyal to it, and so that's what kind of keeps the creativity going, you know.
Yeah. What song in the Pulley catalog do you feel like it's underrated? What's one that you wish the fans talked about more?
Yeah, I, I don't know if there's one song that's underrated. I think in general, overall, as a band,
Hmm.
I've heard comments, you know, using that word underrated, best kept secret, things like that. I've never really, I don't look at us that way. I don't know if I view songs that way. I, I don't have interaction with people on, well, what do you think should have been, I don't, um, but I,
So you don't stay up all night thinking about a Pulley song that would be your walkout song today if you were in the pro still?
probably not. No,
Nah. All right.
I don't stay up all night. I'm a pretty good sleeper, man.
Good. Good. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So baseball has road trips, punk has touring, and I think that might be part of why Pulley always felt like one of those best kept secrets is that your touring schedule obviously had to work around 162-day full-time job schedule. But which part, touring or road trips, which is actually tougher on the body?
Touring's really hard. It's every day. You pull up to a venue, you load your gear, you do a sound check, you get a few minutes, doors open, show starts, you pack up, you load, and you go on to the next place, and you sleep when you can. Baseball was a little different in the sense where you could, you go into a hotel and unpack your suitcase for, at least 3 days, sometimes four. And you get a little better chance to kind of settle in where touring's just a blur. It's a constant go. It's hard on the body, and being a singer, it's really hard. It's difficult to scream every night for an hour. It's really hard, and yeah. So touring for sure.
All right. As a reliever, so much of that job was very mental. Like you're coming in throughout chaos and you're trying to block out the crowd and the pressure and all of that. But then as the front man now you're kind of doing, or not now, but throughout your career, you've been doing the opposite. You're feeding off of the crowd and you're letting the energy grow. So how do you get into those two very different headspaces? And what did one teach you about the other?
Well, I never really felt like coming into a game, maybe in the beginning, but after a while, you just kind of it's just part of your routine, and you grow accustomed to. You're kind of oblivious to the situation, so you don't get caught up in the moment, so to speak. Um, Musically, it's really hard standing with a microphone. Especially in between songs when everybody else turns their back and they're going to tune their instruments, and you're sitting there and you're facing these people, and it's a lot easier when the crowd's into it. It's so easy. It makes it a lot easier to feed off that energy and to help entertain. And you feel like, well, God, I can't do wrong right now. I can't, whatever I say, it's gonna be okay, and someone's gonna laugh, and you're just in a positive, uplifting mood where you interact with people, in a kind of like in a cheerful moment. Um, so if the energy's high, it's easier. If it's not, it's really hard. It's like standing out on the mound and just getting your brain speed in. You don't know where to run to, where to hide to, and I don't know if I'm answering the question correctly,
Oh,
but
absolutely. No.
yeah, it's I don't know if one ever helped the other, uh, because like I said, it's kind of hard standing there with a microphone pretending to be an entertainer.
All right. So when you were a pitcher, there was still the brands. Obviously, there was the Jordans and the Bo Jacksons, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now, where every athlete has their own kind of brand and style to it. So do you think it would be easier now or harder now for you to be the punk rock guy who rides his bike and his skateboard into the clubhouse every day?
I don't know. I don't know if like the media would have taken that and tried to put a spin on it that would have been like not really to my liking. Because I know early on in my baseball time, it was easy to kind of, I was able to separate the two because it wasn't so publicly known. Unless you were a fan, which there really wasn't a lot of fans that were into music, that were into sports, at least back then. All of a sudden, somewhere in the mid 90s, the internet came and then it became okay. It's like there was no longer this jock stigma. And it was like all these punk rock people now were getting into sports. They were playing golf. They were, following baseball or, at least people that I knew, which was completely different than what it was like when I was growing up. And so it was kind of easy to separate the two. And then, like I said, once the internet broke, it was kind of hard to avoid the question, the pictures. Oh, hey, I saw you guys were playing a show here. Or where before I was able to kind of, like I said, keep it under wraps. So I I think it would be more difficult now with the amount of social media and media in itself, and just everybody's looking for a story. And I got to believe that if this professional baseball player, wow, rides his bike, rides a skateboard, because none of them do. It would have made it more, more of a story, and that's kind of what I always tried to avoid. I don't want to be the story. So yeah, it would be harder now.
Yeah. All right. So you've been through your injuries. Obviously, you had a cancer diagnosis at the beginning of your career. You've transitioned your main focus, and you've had decades of performing. Has your definition of success changed between parenting and everything else that you've done? What do you think of as success now?
Oh, geez, man. I mean, success is getting through the day, isn't it? Without aches and pains. Um, Waking up every day is a success. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Every day is a success.
Yeah, you wake up on the right side of the grass. It's a good day, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't take shit so serious. It's like to be grateful, and you wake up and you got another day, and it's like it's a success. You win.
So last year we saw the split with Fire Sale. So for anyone who doesn't know, how did that whole thing come together? It was Chris reached out to you, right?
Yeah, Chris reached out to sent an email or something, asked if we had interest, introduced us to a guy named Seth, who Negative Progression Records, and just kind of went from there. And we each did a couple songs, and it was it was a cool project. It was nice to not have the I don't know, I don't want to use the word responsibility because it's great writing a full length record, but it was a lot easier to, wow, we're going to go do two songs, and it just made things nice and enjoyable.
So what's the next step here? Is there a roadmap for Pulley right now? Is there more music coming, or is that when it comes, it comes?
Yeah, there's actually, we just did a couple of more songs, and I think we're putting out a 7-inch here at some point this summer. Um, and continue doing what we do, play and write. I mean, it never stops. It's just a matter of what's the project at this time. Is it a full length? Is it a 7-inch? Is it a couple songs? Is it a video? Who knows? And it's just always continuing, and hopefully that's the case for years to come.
And that's going to be with Seth and Negative Progression as of now, or are we
The
kind of shop
7-inch will be, yeah. No,
around?
we'll do it with him.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you guys, you've already had a long catalog and a long career. So is there anything at this point that still feels unfinished? Is there something else that you want to accomplish creatively?
Just keep writing music, and, keep playing shows. I don't think we're really like set out to try to, we're not going to get bigger or anything at this point. We're only getting older, so the longer we can hang around and be a part of it and continue to contribute and write music and play is kind of the goal. And um, yeah,
Is there any question, you've been doing this for so long and been interviewed by so many people better than me at this? Is there any question that nobody's asked you that you wish that they would?
can't think of any question offhand. No, it all seems to be general music, baseball, life questions. interviews are interviews, I mean, there's nothing that I haven't answered that God, I wish they would ask me that. I haven't come across that yet. No.
Is there anything you think that younger Scott would have been surprised to learn about you today?
I'd be surprised that I was able to do it for this long, and I never thought, like I said, or at least on the music side of things is what I'm thinking about right now. Um, start jamming in a band. The last thing in my mind was you're going to be doing it as you start approaching 60 years old. I mean, that's who thinks that when you're in, eighth grade, and when you fast forward that many years, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's more than pretty cool. It's extremely cool.
Yeah.
Were there any former teammates that would have been a surprisingly good musician?
There was one guy, his name was Dave Hansen. I played with him with the Dodgers. He was a third baseman, pinch hitter. He played guitar, and he was born down in Orange County area, and he kind of grew up. We were the same age, and he grew up, bands like TSOL and Black Flag. So he was kind of aware. We had a lot of similarities, and we hit it off really well. And he would come to shows, and he would have definitely, he could stand on stage and play guitar in a punk band for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice. You played with him on the Dodgers, and that was like 96, 97.
Yeah.
The one time that I met you, I was 11 years old or so, but you were playing in the Cooperstown game when Tommy Lasorda was inducted.
Okay.
So that was just a cool experience because I don't think it was a real game that counted for the standings. So it was you and the Padres, and it just seemed like everybody was having a great time. Everybody was signing autographs, and it seemed more like the All-Star game type of atmosphere than the grueling side of the season.
Yeah, I actually got to be a part of a couple of those with the Dodgers, the White Sox, and it's an awesome day for a player. I don't remember counting, but I guess it did. If you're saying it was part of a real game, and at that field, it was actually a real game, huh?
No, I don't know that it was actually a real. I mean, you guys played 9 innings. There was a home
Oh
run
yeah,
derby
yeah, yeah,
beforehand,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
it counted towards the. Yeah, I don't think it counted towards the standings. I think it
Oh,
was more of an
okay, yeah, because
exhibition.
they would like bring other players up. So for us, it was kind of like a day off. You got to go, you'd stretch and then you'd sign autographs, and then we'd get bussed over to the museum and get to go check it out and walk around, and didn't really even have to be a part of the game. Was my memory, but I remember from a couple of times walking through the museum and the whole atmosphere, and it's during that whole it's awesome vibe going on around that little city there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I was there for that one, and I was there for Ricky Henderson's, and both times it was just it's such a cool experience. No matter how old you are, I got to bring my daughter to Ricky Henderson's, and it was getting to share that with her was something that was real cool. Getting to have Dave Stewart hold her and get pictures with Johnny Bench. It was just a nice little experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're up close and it's personal, and it's just a good laid back vibe. It's not like the stadium atmosphere. So it's cool. Yeah.
Back into the punk thing. So I don't know how much you know about it, but there's a situation recently with the punk in the park, and it sparked a lot of discussion. The artists canceled; they were choosing different plans to go about it. Questions about how the festival would fit into the scene because of it. So, do you know much about that moment? How do you interpret it, and what do you think it says about the culture right now?
I'm aware of, what I read, and I believe first post I saw was something from the dead Kennedys. But they were gonna finish playing. They were gonna finish their commitment and play the show, but then after that, they weren't gonna because it went against their, I don't know, a bunch of shit that I read. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of what punk rock's always been about. It's funny though that, like, you know, why don't they expose all the I always call it like the cool guy part of the scene. It's like that certain group where it's the same bands, same festivals, traveling around the country, and it's just the same, almost regurgitated kind of, year after year after year after year, and we actually played, I believe we played one Punk in the Park down here in Orange County, and it's a cool festival, and from you don't really realize, I guess, in today's climate, uh, how much like behind the scenes shit really goes on, because you get an opportunity as a band, you're going to play in front of a few thousand people. It's awesome.
Right.
It beats the hell out of playing like the Legion Hall. So, hey, cool, we're going to play a festival. You don't really realize, like I said, all that's going on. All you're thinking about is you're going to go play. And maybe that's, I don't know what the right word is, bad as a musician to not be so conscious. But it personally, I thought it was kind of cool that things got exposed. People felt the way they felt. They voiced their opinions. They stood up for it. They made a stand, and ultimately that they made a difference. But there's a lot more than just that festival, isn't there? I mean,
Right. Yeah. No.
going
Absolutely.
on. I mean, and so I don't know what happened to single that out, but I mean, I see it across the board all the time, and like I said, I don't think we're part of the cool guy scene where we're on a lot of those those work tours and the festivals and all that. Not to say that we wouldn't do it if we had an opportunity,
Right.
but I don't know if the opportunity is going to really present itself. I'm sure a lot of the festivals that we're a part of over in Europe, some of them probably have those ties as well. I don't know if it's donating money to a certain campaign, but
Right.
they're still like very corporately involved, and there's just a lot of shady shit that goes on with a lot of that, like I said, behind the scenes type stuff. And I, I don't want to not pay attention to it, because it's there, and I am aware, but maybe I prefer to just not get involved, if that's probably weak on my part to say that, but just like I said, we don't play those festivals, so I really don't
Right.
care. I don't care. I mean, whatever. I'm just glad that like people felt the way they did, and stood their ground, and tried to make a difference. That, because that's the bottom. That's what's important. Is don't jump on the bandwagon, but do it if you genuinely feel that way. And if
Right.
there was enough genuine people who felt that way, then more power to them.
Nice. All right, so we're going to kind of continue the conversation about festivals, but this is a really good one. So you guys are playing Camp Punksylvania in about a month from today. This is one that our site has worked with significantly over the last 4 years, and every year we do a series of interviews with as many of the artists that are performing it as possible. So 4 years running now, we've been doing that, and we cover the shows, we do the reviews. We have a great time. Laura is one of the coolest people on earth. All the people behind the stage that I've had the opportunity to speak with, they've all just been real, genuine, good, caring people. And now you and I, we've talked about music, we've talked about baseball, we've talked about the philosophy and the different worlds, but it's time for us to take a trip into the woods too. So this is the happy campers portion of the interview. We're going to talk about Camp Punksylvania. It's going to be less dugouts, more campfires, some
Cool.
cryptids, a bit of questionable life choices, and some controlled chaos, if that's all right.
I'm ready.
All right, perfect. So it's a bit rapid fire. You're headed off to camp soon. So what should the campers know before stepping up to your set?
I'm sorry. I didn't. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, absolutely. What should the campers at Camp Punksylvania, what should they know before they step over to your set on stage?
What should they know? Um, put in some earplugs and come over and enjoy yourself. We come to have a good time, man. We're looking forward to it. I mean, you mentioned Laura earlier. Reached out to her, and talk about energy through an email. It's like it comes through the air, and it's just the excitement on their end has made it more exciting on our end, and looking forward to it. So I hope whoever walks over and watches us can feel that.
Nice. What song in your set do you feel like it pulls people into your world the best?
A lot of times we play Insects Destroy. There's some crowd participation chanting, so sometimes that gets everybody together.
Awesome. And when the dust settles at camp this year, what do you hope people are saying about your set on the walk back?
They say we sounded good.
So this year's lineup, it's pretty stacked. Outside of yourselves, obviously, which artists are you most excited to catch live?
I don't know. I got to relook at the thing who's playing on the same day with us, but I know there's a couple of bands. We're playing on Friday. I've never seen Body Count. I kind of was looking, not that I'm a super fan, but I want to check them out live. I mean, I've seen tons of video. That's a band that I haven't seen live. Seeing face to face would be great, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, anytime you get a chance to see a band live, I don't care who they are. I'm going to walk over and give a listen. So
Nice.
I just like live music.
Awesome. Are you going to be there all 3 days?
We're playing a show in New York City the next night, so I think we're just going to be there Friday. I don't think
All
we're
right.
going to come back on Sunday.
All right. So if they're calling it Camp 666 because it's the 6 year of it. So if Camp 666 is to become a full horror movie, who survives from your band and who gets eliminated first?
Oh, Tyler, our bass player, he survives
Yeah.
for
All
sure.
right.
Yeah, he loves Satan. Um, and who doesn't survive?
Yeah, who gets knocked off first?
Yeah, either me or Trey, our guitar player.
All
We're
right.
probably yeah.
So middle of the woods, you're done with your set, but you're still kind of hanging out around the campgrounds. Things are getting a little bit weird. What song are you playing?
Maybe something acoustically,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something
Yeah.
soothing to the ears. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. So every set is a bit of a ritual. What are you trying to summon and what are you trying to burn down?
Um, can I summon like people, like
Yeah.
energy? Is that something? Try to summon energy and trying to burn down being out of tune and hitting bad notes.
All right. Awesome. What's the next chapter for Pulley? Outside of the 7 inch, outside of camp, outside of your show in New York.
Um, we have a tour in August in Europe. We have we're going to Hawaii in November. Yeah, just keep playing, keep booking shows. The next chapter's really got nothing written. It's just an open book, and we're just gonna keep doing it.
All right. Perfect. And then just before we close everything out, is there anything we haven't brought into the conversation that you'd like to chat about?
Yeah, that one question that I always wish someone would ask me. No, I have. No, there's nothing, man. We've covered it. I'm excited. I'm glad this is a festival I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, we're my oldest and I are gonna go. It'll be their third time coming along. So they may not be able to go on Friday because it's also the day of their high school graduation, but they're gonna be there Saturday and Sunday for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things, so I'm looking forward to experiencing it myself.
Yeah, it's been a great time for us every time. So
Yeah.
fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. Um, I think that we're all set. So looking forward to seeing you at camp. Looking forward to seeing you throughout Europe in August, and looking forward to the next thing that comes down the pipe from Pulley.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Have
Yeah.
yourself a great one.
You too, man.
Take care.
See ya.